Back here on Sportsline, Hakeem Dermish alongside Katie Mox. And this college football season is off to a thrilling start as we look ahead to notable Week 2 matchups. The one we've all got circled here, Ohio at Penn State. No disrespect, I'm just kidding. I love Bobcats. I love the Nittany Lions. But the game that we've got circled here, the Tide and the Longhorns. Biggest game on the schedule. Nick Saban against Steve Sarkisian. Sarkisian, a former Saban assistant. Saban 25-2 all-time against his former assistants. The two losses coming last year. Remember who? Jimbo Fisher? Kirby Smart. Here we go. Maybe it'll hit again. All right, let's get a pause in there so we can run this back. Welcome CBS Sports HQ gambling analyst John Berger. John, Bryce Young and the Tide are 20-point road favorites against Quinn Ewers and the Longhorns. Total 65 and a hook. Last Saturday, Ewers didn't read the signs in the campus parking lot and got towed. So if you can't even do that, I don't know how you're going to beat Alabama. John, are you hitching your wagon to the Tide on this Saturday?
Yeah, good to see you, Hakeem. Yeah, I am. Look, I like what Sarkisian's doing at Texas, and you know how I feel about the traditional powers. He's doing a good job so far. I mean, last year was not a great season, obviously, but they came in, made some changes. They're recruiting well. Of course, they fired up the NIL machine, which is awesome. I just think it's a year too early. This is a football team offensively, meaning Texas, young offensive line, first-year starting quarterback. I understand Bijan Robinson at the running back position, but you're going up against a defensive front, which will be one of the top 5, top 10 in the country. Will Anderson, that's arguably the top linebacker, maybe the top college football player that's out there right now. I just think this is a situation where it's a year early. Not sure about the point. If you have to lay the points right now, it would take Alabama to cover them. If you have to make the bet, I might wait another 24 hours to see what happens. But if you got to do it right now, take Alabama to cover those points. But I would also feel safer if you have to make that bet for some reason today to take the over. I think there's going to be some points scored. I just think at the end of the day, Alabama is going to be too strong up front at the point of attack, and there's just too much inexperience offensively for the Longhorns.
This is going to be a sign of what's to come, right, for Texas? Like, hey, get used to this because in a couple of years we're coming for that you-know-what, and we're going to crush you week in and week out if you're on our schedule. Like, that's what it is. We're going to set the scene here for Texas. Welcome to the SEC. That's basically what this game will be an introductory to.
Can't wait. All right, John, college football is known for having massive spreads. Week 2 goes all the way up to 51 in Michigan versus Hawaii. Which favorite is your best spread bet this week?
I'm kind of surprised by one that I'm looking at right now, which is UCF covering those points against Louisville. And I understand a lot of times it's easy in this game. And Hakeem, we've done this for a number of years together. It's really easy to overreact to a week 1 performance. And that's true both if you win and you lose. I was just surprised by Louisville last week. I was expecting a lot more out of these guys. Malik Cunningham at the quarterback position, they looked inept offensively, lost to Syracuse 31-7. Defense did absolutely nothing. Really surprised. Again, I don't overreact, but I just think UCF, they've got to make a statement in this game. I think they can cover the 5.5. Plumlee at the quarterback position. Isaiah Bowser can run the football. Louisville's going to look a lot better than they did last week. I'm just surprised by this number, and I think it's worth taking a stretch and looking at UCF to cover this number.
Sprinkles are for winners, John. Give us your tippy-top Moneyline Sprinkle for Week 2.
I'm looking at Pitt, Tennessee. I picked this up at plus 205 Pitt. Understand Tennessee is going to come into this game, Hakeem, and it's going to be like bombs away. I mean, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Tennessee has some perimeter players that are not easy to man up on. The defensive coordinator and the defensive staff for Pitt this week is looking at that, scratching their head a little bit. So I don't like the matchups in terms of Tennessee's perimeter players. I think there's going to be some big plays downfield against that Pitt defense. I think it's going to be bombs away, but I look at this and you look kind of the character and the buildup of this Pitt team. They've got 8 defensive linemen that they can move in and out of there. They can turn around and run the football. They look great against West Virginia. So, they won that game and they were pressed on it. I just think a lot of people are automatically checking the box on Tennessee. I just think in this situation, the money line plus 205, I think it's worth the stretch, and I'm going to take Pitt here.
How about a total, John? Which matchup are you looking to score over or under the total in Week 2?
I'm going back to Texas and Bama. I just think there's going to be too much offense, and I'm going to take the over in this game. I think there'll be some garbage scores in the end of that game. I mean, you could see a way that Alabama could work their way up to 40-45. I think Texas, they're going to have to, and they're going to call an aggressive game plan, but it's also going to have to be creative. They're going to have to improvise. They're going to have to do some things off schedule, a little bit non-traditional. So I think Texas has got enough talent on that side of the ball to score some points. I just think there's going to be too many scores, too much offense, too much offensive line for Bama. Right now, if you've got to lay that, I'd take the over in this situation.
All right, thanks, John. Let's recap these picks. John likes Bama to roll over the Longhorns. You could wait 24 hours for that one. However, you have to lock it in. Let's go ahead and lock that in. He also likes the over in that game at 65.5. He's taking UCF to cover the spread. Little Moneyline Sprinkle on Pittsburgh.
All right, this is my favorite portion of the segment when John gives us his parlay. John, what'd you put together for week 2?
You know, I'm looking at this one. I can't. I'm having a hard time seeing the screen, Hakeem. So maybe you could give me the upside on this. But I looked at. You know, I'm going to go straight over under in here. I'm going to take the under in the Duke game. We talked about Texas and playing Alabama. I'm going to go ahead and take the over as we mentioned. But I'm looking at Penn State. You kind of made a little bit of a joke about the Penn State Ohio game. In that game, I'm also going to take the over in that situation. I'm going to take the over in the Miami Southern Miss game. So I put those 4 together. I kind of like this one as it goes. I know it's not one of these 7 or 8 team plus 16,000, but as I look at these games and I look as they unfold earlier in the week, this is one I feel good about. I think it's worth a stretch.
So you're going all overs here. I like it. I like it.
Except for Duke. I'm taking the under on Duke Northwestern.
You're taking the under on Duke Northwestern. Yep. All right, you're taking the under 58.5 there, Duke Northwestern. All right, John, appreciate it. Great stuff. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, buddy. See you this weekend.
All right, sounds good. Let's take a look back at John's parlay. Duke Northwestern under 58.5. Alabama, Texas over 65 and a hook. Ohio, Penn State over 54. Southern Miss and Miami over 51.5. Get some nice odds here, better than 12-1 in week 2. All right, well, that'll do it for this hour of Sportsline here on CBS Sports HQ. Yankees are going to the bottom of the 12th. They're down 4-3, so my parlay is not looking good right now because I had the Yankees on the money line in my parlay, and I need some 12th inning magic here.
Well, maybe some of these other parlays will help you out tonight.
Yeah, I'll have to look back at the show. Go back in the record. Keep it locked.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.